In the deepest corners of the galaxy beyond the reach of most maps, and far from the bustling corridors of power, there drifts an ancient relic, a ship so old it was thought to be a myth story spoken in whispers long forgotten by the races who ruled the stars to the eyes of the Galactic Federation. The ship is nothing more than a piece of space debris. Its hull is battered and scarred by time, its engine silent for eons. Its value lies only in its mystery. No one knows what lies inside, or how it came to be drifting there. But they don't care. Its technology is outdated. They believe it poses no threat, and the Federation has grown accustomed to its supremacy in the galaxy. No rival has challenged their dominance in centuries, so when the ship is found on the outskirts of Federation space, the response is predictable. A team is dispatched to retrieve it, not to study or explore, but to catalog and strip whatever remains might be worth anything. They send a crew of soldiers from the best races the galaxy has to offer, creatures of immense power with advanced weapons and unshakable confidence. They will board the ship, secure it, and return with it as nothing more than a trophy for the Federation archives. But they make one critical mistake. They underestimate the humans who are also interested in the ship. The humans are a small part of the galaxy by comparison. They are scattered and isolated far from the grand empires of old. Their homeworld, Earth, is little more than a backwater to the greater galactic powers. The Federation doesn't even see them as a threat. They don't even consider them important. In their eyes, humanity is a curiosity, a young species that doesn't belong in the greater galactic community. They send a small team of engineers and veterans on the mission to recover the ship. They expect nothing more than an easy job, something for the humans to do, while the more capable races take care of the real work. These humans aren't soldiers, they aren't diplomats. They're just a crew of ordinary people given a task and expected to follow orders without question. But the humans don't see themselves as ordinary. Their eyes are full of wonder, not at the ship's age or its power, but at the possibilities hidden beneath its rusted exterior. To them, it's not just a relic, it's a chance to learn something unknown, a key to unlocking secrets buried by time itself. So while the Federation team prepares to board the ship with weapons drawn and minds set on taking it with force, the humans have already begun their work. Silently, quietly, without fanfare, they start to study its systems. The ship is weak, but its weakness holds a strange charm. It hasn't been active in ages, and yet the humans can feel something alive within it, some untapped potential buried deep in its foundations. Unlike the Federation crew, who look only to the obvious, the humans see through the surface. They don't just look at the ship's age. They study its design, its structure, its flaws. They begin to uncover something remarkable beneath the decay, something that hasn't been seen in the galaxy for centuries, but the Federation is too blind to notice. Soon the Federation team arrives, ready to claim their prize, unaware that the humans are already a step ahead of them. They look down at the small human crew dismissively, not realizing they are about to make the most dangerous mistake of their lives. The humans are far more than they seem, and the ship is far more powerful than anyone could have imagined. The human crew stands on the bridge of the ancient ship, its walls creak and groan, as if waking from a long slumber. They are not many, only a handful, but their presence is enough to stir the dormant power inside the ship. The engineers move swiftly across the room, their eyes fixed on the consoles. As they manipulate the controls with skill honed from years of experience, they know this ship is far more than a relic, and they are determined to unlock its secrets. The crew is a mix of veterans and scientists from all walks of life, but they share a single focus, a quiet resolve that drives them forward. They know they are being watched by the Federation, who have underestimated them from the very beginning. But the humans are used to being underestimated. They have spent centuries on the edge of the galaxy, forgotten and ignored by the great powers of the universe. But they have survived, and they have learned how to make the most of what they have always been forced to rely on, their ingenuity and resourcefulness, in a galaxy that looked down on them. As the Federation's elite forces prepare to board the ship, they dismiss the humans without a second thought. They don't see them as a threat. Their commanders laugh at the notion that the humans could do anything of value here. The Federation soldiers are the best the galaxy has to offer. They come from powerful races with advanced technology. They expect to waltz in, take the ship, and leave with no resistance. They think the humans will cower or run at the first sign of conflict. But the humans have faced worse than this before, and they are not afraid. Inside the ship, the atmosphere is tense, but calm. The crew works together in silence, their movements precise, as they begin activating systems that have been dormant for millennia. At first, it's small things, simple tasks like rebooting the ship's old communication systems. But soon the humans realize something far more intriguing is happening. The ship's energy core hums to life, a low, steady pulse that reverberates through the walls. It is not the rumbling of a dying machine, but the thrumming of a living thing waking from a long sleep. The lights flicker on the gravity stabilizers, begin to hum, and even the long-dead engines flare with distant power. The Federation crew, still several hours away, continues to monitor the humans from their ships, but they are not concerned. They are busy making plans to take the ship by force. When they arrive, they make jokes among themselves about how easy it will be, how the humans will scatter at the first hint of danger. But they do not understand the depth of the human spirit. They do not understand that humanity thrives under pressure. They don't realize that in the face of the impossible, the human mind finds a way. On board the ship, the humans continue their work undisturbed. They are quiet, but not idle. Their fingers fly across the controls as they work in perfect coordination, each member of the crew performing a specific task to bring the ship to life. The ship begins to respond to their efforts, but they are careful. They know that reactivating the ship could change the galaxy in ways no one can predict. But they also know that they can't afford to wait forever. The Federation will come soon, and when they do, the humans will be ready. As the human engineers open more access points to the ship's systems and begin rerouting power, they find themselves staring at a strange piece of technology buried deep within the ship's core, a device that pulses with energy unlike anything they've seen before. It is ancient but unmistakable. It could be the key to understanding the ship's true potential. The crew gathers around it with a sense of awe and anticipation. They know that unlocking this could change everything for them. The ship is far from weak. It is a sleeping giant, and the humans are the ones who have woken it. The moment the device activates, the entire ship shudders, as if it has been struck by a powerful wave of energy. The crew stares in stunned silence at the console before them. The ancient machine hums with a low, almost melodic tone. Its lights flicker to life, casting a soft glow across the dimly lit bridge. The air around them feels charged, as though the ship itself is waking from a long-forgotten slumber. They are no longer just tinkering with an old vessel. They are awakening something much more powerful and far more dangerous than anyone could have predicted. The humans exchange cautious glances, their minds racing to comprehend what is unfolding before them. Every motion, every adjustment they had made so far had been careful, calculated, but this new development is beyond anything they had prepared for. The device before them pulses with raw, unfathomable power. Its core seems to contain an energy source that dwarfs anything the Federation or any other race has ever seen before. The hum in the ship grows louder, more intense, until it fills the room with a low vibration that shakes them to their very core. "What have we found?" whispers Captain Soren, his voice barely above a breath. His eyes are locked on the device, his expression a mix of wonder and caution. "We've unlocked something," says Lieutenant Dre, the lead engineer, her fingers flying over the controls to scan the ship's systems. The data pouring in is incomprehensible at first, but as it filters through, the magnitude of what they've tapped into becomes clear. The ship's energy core has been linked to a vast network of systems far beyond their current understanding. It's like nothing they've ever seen before, a power source not just for the ship but potentially for the entire galaxy. In the background, Sergeant Clark, a grizzled veteran, stands watch by the door. His eyes dart back and forth, as if expecting the Federation to burst in at any moment. But he says nothing. His focus is on the hum that fills the ship, the pulse that echoes through the walls. It's not just a power source. It's a signal. It's calling out, drawing something to them. He can feel it. At that moment, the crew feels the first tremors of something larger moving outside the ship. The sensors pick up faint readings, strange signatures that shouldn't be there at all. Signals from ships growing stronger by the second. The humans freeze for a moment, exchanging uneasy glances. They had known the Federation would eventually come, But now it seems their arrival is more imminent than expected, and they are unprepared. "We need to move fast," Captain Soren orders, shaking off the tension in the air. "Activate the engines, get us ready to leave now." Engines are already powered up. Lieutenant Dre responds quickly, her fingers tapping furiously across the console. As the ship's systems start to hum to life, the gravity stabilizers activate. The engines flare with sudden force, and the ship lurches forward with a power that surprises even the humans. The ship is not weak. Not even its systems have been dormant for far too long. But now they are awakening, and they are more than capable of far greater things. But just as they prepare to launch, an alarm blares across the ship, a warning that the Federation fleet has entered the system and is closing in on their position fast. The humans know they can't escape quietly now. It's a race against time, and a fight they never expected to have to face this soon. "Brace for impact," Captain Soren orders, gripping the arm of his chair as the ship's thrusters fire up, and the ancient vessel begins to move through the cold void of space with surprising agility. The Federation fleet is drawing nearer by the second, their ships vast and imposing, but the human crew knows something they didn't before. The ship is no longer an outdated relic, it is a living force, and it is about to show its full potential to the galaxy. As the hum of the power source reaches its peak, the ship lurches forward, breaking free of its mooring and hurtling into the unknown. The humans have just awakened a sleeping giant, and they will soon find out just how powerful it truly is. The ship lurches violently as it accelerates through the dark void of space, the stars around them stretching into streaks of light. As they push the engines to their limit, the hum of the ancient power core is now a deep, rhythmic thrum, vibrating through the bones of the crew and into the very heart of the ship itself. Captain Soren grips the armrests of his seat, his mind racing. The Federation fleet is closing in fast, and they're not just coming for a ship, they're coming for them. "We can't outrun them in this thing, can we?" Sergeant Clark asks, his voice steady but his eyes alert. His hand rests on the weapon at his side, the familiarity of it a small comfort in the growing storm of uncertainty. "Not unless we find some tricks," Soren replies, glancing toward Lieutenant Dre, who's working feverishly at the control panel. "What do we have?" Dre's face is bathed in the glow of the rapidly scrolling data she's been pulling in, her eyes darting across the console. "This ship's faster than I thought it would be, but not enough to outrun the Federation fleet. We'll be caught in minutes if we don't do something drastic." Her fingers fly over the console, her thoughts a blur of calculations as she rapidly scans the ship's capabilities. "Wait, here's something we didn't know about. It's got a cloaking system, a very old one, but it's still functional." "A cloaking system," Soren repeats, his brow furrowing. "Activated now." "We'll need a few moments to power it up," Dre replies, her eyes scanning the screen. "This is risky. We don't know what we're dealing with. This system is ancient, unstable." "Do it," Soren snaps, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "We don't have a choice." The ship shudders again as Dre works, the hum of the cloaking system flickering to life deep in the ship's core. The crew holds their breath, eyes fixed on the swirling data. As the ship's outline begins to blur and distort, the ancient technology responds reluctantly, groaning and pulsing like a living creature forced into action after centuries of dormancy. Then, with a sudden jolt, the ship vanishes from view completely, cloaked from the Federation ships that are closing in on them. For a few moments, there is nothing but silence. The stars outside the bridge windows no longer streak past in an endless blur. They're gone, hidden by the ship's newfound invisibility. "We're in the clear, for now," Dre breathes out, looking up from the console. "But they'll be searching for us soon, and when they do, they'll find something they weren't expecting," Clark mutters, his hand resting on the gun at his side again, the familiar weight grounding him in the chaos. But Soren's mind is already elsewhere. He's thinking ahead, focusing on the larger picture. The Federation might be temporarily out of sight, but the ship's power is now undeniable. It's no longer just a ship, it's a weapon, and they've just unlocked something far more dangerous than they could have anticipated. "All right, let's not get comfortable," Soren says, his voice steady as he shifts in his seat and turns to face the crew. "We don't know how much longer we can hide under this cloak, but we've got to use what time we have." Dre nods in agreement, still tracking the fleet's movements on her console. "I can give us another couple of minutes before they get too close. After that, we'll need to make a run for it or stand and fight." Soren looks at the ship's system readouts. Taking in the power surging through the old vessel, the readings are overwhelming. And for the first time, he feels the weight of what they've unlocked. They're no longer outlaws running from the law. They are something much more formidable now, a force that could shift the entire galaxy's balance if they play their cards right. He looks at the crew, each one of them caught between fear and excitement at the dawning realization of what they're holding in their hands. "We can't go back," Soren says quietly. "Whatever happens next, we're not just reclaiming this ship. We're changing the galaxy forever. Now, let's see what this old girl can really do." And with that, the humans prepare to face the Federation, knowing that the ship they thought was the weakest is about to unleash something no one, not even the Federation, could have ever imagined. The ship's cloaking technology flickers as it holds steady against the tide of incoming Federation forces, but the humans aboard know they can't stay hidden for long. Every moment spent drifting in silence feels like an eternity. The sensors on the bridge begin to detect the gradual shift in the Federation strategy. They're already scanning for hidden ships, already deploying search patterns across the stars. They're coming, and this time they won't be fooled. "We need a plan," Soren mutters, his fingers tapping anxiously against the console. He knows they can't keep hiding. They've unlocked a power the Federation isn't prepared to face. But that same power makes them a prime target. The decision must come soon. Run, fight, or something far more dangerous. The crew falls into a tense silence. The soft whir of machinery and the distant hum of the ship's engine are the only sounds filling the air as each member processes the gravity of the situation. They are no longer just a small human crew on an abandoned ship. They are a force to be reckoned with, and that fact is sinking in fast. "Let's not waste this moment," Dre finally says, breaking the quiet. Her voice is firm and clear. "We have the power to strike back. If we do it right, we can't afford to sit and wait for them to catch up. We need to take control of the situation." Soren nods slowly, his eyes narrowing in thought. "If we strike, we make a statement, but we need to do it smartly. We've seen how fast the Federation moves. If we go in too hot, we'll be crushed under their weight." Clark, ever the pragmatist, steps forward, his eyes scanning the star charts on the wall. "We've got a better chance if we move under their radar, hit them before they know what's happening, hit them where it hurts most." The conversation grows more urgent as the crew begins to prepare themselves for what's coming next, but the weight of the decision bears heavily on each of them. They know their actions here could change everything. They could make the galaxy see them as heroes, or they could ignite a war that would see humanity wiped from the stars entirely. Dre adjusts the controls, her face reflecting a mix of exhilaration and apprehension. "I can reroute power to the cloaking system again, but we won't stay invisible for long. The energy draw is too much, but it'll give us just enough time to slip past their defenses before they realize we're here." Soren's eyes meet hers, and he sees the resolve in her gaze. "Do it. We'll make our move while we have the chance." As Dre works, rerouting the energy and activating the cloaking system once more, Soren turns to his crew one last time. "We've been underestimated since the moment we boarded this ship. But this ship is no longer just a weapon. It's a message. A message to the galaxy that we will not be dismissed. We will not be overlooked. We are here to stay." The ship hums with a low energy, cloaked again from the Federation's watchful eyes. The human crew knows they are walking a fine line now, every move calculated, every decision pivotal in their survival, as well as their future. Outside, the Federation's fleet is still pursuing them, but they are no longer the ones in control. The humans have just shifted the balance of power in a way no one anticipated. The ship's systems glow brightly, pulsing with newfound strength as Soren gives the order to move out. "We'll hit them fast and hard. We're not just running anymore, we're fighting back, and we're going to make sure they never forget who we are." Dre activates the engines, the ship's hull vibrating with power as it moves through the void at speeds that defy expectations for a vessel so old they fly toward the heart of the Federation fleet, hidden in plain sight, ready to strike when the moment is right. As they close in on the enemy, the crew's nerves are taut with anticipation. The Federation doesn't know it yet, but they're about to face a storm like nothing they've ever seen before. The humans have come into their own, and the universe is about to feel their power for the first time. This is no longer a fight for survival. It's a fight for dominance, and the humans are about to make their mark on the galaxy. The ship moves swiftly through the darkness of space, its cloaking system holding steady as the human crew closes in on the heart of the Federation fleet. The tension in the air is thick, almost palpable. Each of them knows what's at stake. The moment they break cover, there will be no turning back. The Federation will come for them with everything they have, and they are prepared to fight, but no one truly knows how the battle will unfold or what the consequences will be when it's over. Dre monitors the energy levels from the control panel, her hands moving with practiced precision as she adjusts the power flow to keep the ship hidden. But the weight of the situation settles over her like a heavy fog. She is no longer just an engineer, she is a strategist, a part of something far larger than she had ever anticipated. "I'm telling you, this ship is something else," Clark mutters from his post, his eyes flicking to the sensor readouts. The energy signatures we're picking up, they don't just suggest advanced technology, they suggest a level of power we've never seen before. This is beyond anything the Federation's ever dealt with. Exactly why they won't expect it, Soren replies, his voice calm but with a sharp edge. They're used to their weapons being the strongest. They won't know what hit them. They draw closer to the Federation ships, their forms massive against the backdrop of stars. The Federation fleet is vast, filled with cruisers, dreadnoughts, and destroyers ready to crush any who defy their control. The Federation commanders, once confident in their superiority, are unaware of the silent threat creeping closer to their ranks. Dre looks up from her panel, her face serious. "We're almost in position, Captain. I'll have to disengage the cloak in less than a minute to make the strike. Once we do, they'll know we're here, and they'll come after us with everything they have. We'll have a few minutes at best to make our move." Soren glances at the crew, his eyes hardening with resolve. "We won't need more than that. When we hit hard. Every second counts." As the ship edges closer, the Federation fleet's formations grow tighter, their ships moving like a well-oiled machine in perfect coordination. The human crew watches, knowing that a single misstep could reveal their position too soon. But the humans are patient. Their years of surviving against the odds have made them experts at waiting for the perfect moment. Soren stands, a calm determination in his eyes. "Now, Dre, do it." In an instant, the ship's cloaking system flickers off, and the full power of the ancient vessel is revealed to the Federation ships ahead. The dark void of space lights up as the ship's engines roar to life, propelling them forward with a force that shakes the bridge. The Federation fleet reacts with surprising speed, their ships firing in unison as they detect the sudden breach in their defenses. But they are too slow. The human ship is no longer the frail relic they assumed it was. It is a juggernaut, a predator moving with a deadly precision that defies their expectations. "Brace for impact." Dre yells as the ship's shields flare to life, absorbing the incoming fire with a strength that almost seems impossible for such an old vessel. Soren grins, his heart pounding in his chest. "Return fire. Let's show them what this ship can really do." The ancient weapons systems that had long been dormant hum to life, firing a barrage of energy blasts that tear through the Federation's formation with ease. Their ships are caught off guard, disoriented by the sheer power of the human ship's offensive. The Federation commanders scramble, sending out orders to regroup, but it's too late. In the chaos, the human ship's engines roar again, tearing through the Federation ranks as they attempt to break free, their weapons firing in rapid succession. Each blast from the Federation ship is met with a retaliatory strike that sends shockwaves through the enemy fleet. "This is impossible," one of the Federation commanders mutters, staring at his readouts in disbelief. How are they doing this? This ship should be scrap. But the humans are not running anymore. They are no longer the underdogs in this fight. They have become a force of nature, and the Federation is starting to realize just how dangerous they truly are. The human crew is relentless, striking the Federation's most vulnerable ships and leaving them reeling from the onslaught. But the Federation is not easily defeated. The remaining ships begin to regroup, forming a tighter formation around their most powerful vessels and preparing to fight back with renewed fury. Soren watches as the Federation fleet begins to recover, their counterattack imminent. They're going to bring everything they have at us now. Let them, Clark says, his grin widening. We've got something they can't even begin to understand. The humans have shifted the balance of power, and now they are about to face the full wrath of the Federation. But they know one thing for sure. They will never be underestimated again. The human ship barrels through the battlefield, its weapons hammering into the Federation fleet with a relentless fury. The Federation, once supreme in their dominance, is now forced into a reactive stance. Their ships scatter in disarray, their commanders scrambling to adapt to the ferocity of the unexpected assault. Soren stands tall at the helm, his eyes scanning the unfolding chaos, his pulse steady but quickened by the urgency of the situation. Dre, can we keep this up? How much power do we have left? Dre's fingers move rapidly over the control panel, her eyes flicking between various readouts that continue to flash at breakneck speed. We've got more than enough to outlast them, Captain, she says, her voice tense but confident. This ship, it's designed for endurance. We can push these systems harder than we thought. But as she speaks, the Federation's response grows more coordinated. Their larger dreadnoughts begin to organize themselves into a formidable formation, their weapons primed and ready to retaliate with devastating force. The humans' initial advantage, the element of surprise, begins to fade, and the battle shifts to something more dangerous for both sides. They're grouping together, Clark observes, watching as the enemy ships converge, their combined firepower now concentrated into a single, more dangerous strike. They're coming for us with everything they've got. We'll have to outmaneuver them if we want to survive this. Soren nods, his mind racing through the options. We can't outrun them. We've got the firepower, but they've got numbers. Dre, do we have anything in this ship that can give us an edge? Something hidden. Dre hesitates for only a moment before her fingers dart across the console again, a thought forming in her mind. There might be one thing, she says slowly, her voice betraying a hint of uncertainty. I've been running scans on the ship's core, and there's something there. Something we haven't fully tapped into yet. Something hidden. Soren asks, raising an eyebrow. Something more like a weapon. Dre replies, but it's not like anything we've used before. It's an ancient system, linked to the ship's original purpose. I don't know if it's even safe to activate it, but if we do, it could shift the tide in our favor. Soren's gaze hardens as he looks at the approaching Federation fleet. We don't have time for second guesses. If this ship has a hidden weapon, we're using it. Dre swallows, but her fingers move without hesitation, rerouting power through unfamiliar systems, their energy readings fluctuating wildly as the ship's dormant weaponry begins to hum to life. This is it, she says, eyes wide. Hold on. The ship shudders violently as it begins to draw from the vast, untapped power buried deep within its core. The ancient weapon, long dormant, flickers on, sending pulses of energy coursing through the hull. Its design is strange and alien, an ancient force designed for destruction at a scale beyond anything the Federation could comprehend. We're about to make history, Soren mutters, his eyes narrowing as he watches the Federation ships draw closer, now in perfect range for a decisive strike. Dre, what's the weapon's status? Fully powered up, Dre reports, her fingers racing over the controls. I just need to channel the energy through the forward cannons. Give me one more second. The Federation ships are closing in faster now, their weapons charged and ready to fire at any moment. They don't realize what's coming their way, but they will soon enough. Do it, Soren orders, his voice sharp. Dre hits the final command, and the ship's forward cannons glow with an intensity that blinds the crew for a split second, as if the ship itself has become a star in the void of space. A single focused beam of pure energy erupts from the cannons, cutting through the vast emptiness like a sword through the fabric of space itself. The Federation fleet is not prepared for this weapon. Its destructive power tears through the leading dreadnought, rupturing its shields and causing explosions that ripple through the ship's hull in an instant, leaving a wake of devastation behind the other ships try to dodge. But they're too slow. The energy beam strikes again, and another Federation ship crumples under the intensity of the blast. Soren watches in awe as the power of the ancient weapon rips through the enemy formation, causing the once proud Federation fleet to splinter into chaos. "We've done it," he mutters under his breath, the weight of the moment dawning on him. But the victory is short-lived. The Federation is not easily cowed, and as the remaining ships attempt to regroup, Soren knows that this is just the beginning. The humans have shown their strength, but now the Federation's fury will be unleashed. "We've pissed them off," Clark says with a grin, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "And now they're going to come at us with everything." Soren looks at his crew, his face determined. "Let them. We're not going anywhere." The battle is far from over, but one thing is certain. The galaxy will never forget the day the weakest ship shattered the Federation's supremacy. The Federation fleet, now battered and disorganized, quickly scrambles to regroup. The sheer devastation caused by the ship's newly activated weapon has left them reeling, but they are far from defeated. Soren and his crew can see the incoming wave of reinforcements from their sensors, a dozen ships making their way toward the battle with the firepower to annihilate anything in their path. "We've made a dent," Soren says, his voice low but filled with conviction. "But they're not backing down. They're going to throw everything they have at us now." Dre's hands move frantically across the control panel, her focus unwavering as she monitors the power readings from the ship's weapon systems. "We can't keep firing like that for long," she says. "The energy output it's not sustainable. We need to conserve or we'll overload the core." "We'll hold as long as we can," Soren replies, glancing at his crew. "But it's not about how long we can last. It's about sending a message. Let them know we're not just a nuisance anymore. We're here to stay." The sound of explosions reverberates through the hull as the Federation fleet launches a coordinated counterattack, their weapons tearing through the void of space in a flurry of deadly force. The human ship dodges and weaves, moving with a surprising agility that throws off the Federation's aim. But even with their speed, the incoming fire is overwhelming. The shields flicker under the strain, and the hum of the ship's engines grows erratic, the strain of the battle taking its toll. Shields holding at 60%. Dre calls out, her voice steady despite the urgency of the situation. "We can't take many more hits like that." Clark, his eyes fixed on the battlefield outside, steps forward. "Captain, we need to make this count. Let's take out their flagship. If we can cripple their command structure, the rest will scatter." Soren nods, his gaze locking onto the massive dreadnought in the center of the Federation formation. The flagship. He knows that if they destroy it, the Federation will be thrown into chaos. Their command network will collapse, and their coordinated response will fall apart. "We're going for the flagship," Soren says, his voice resolute. "Full power to forward shields and weapons. Dre, we're going to push this ship to its limit." "Understood," Dre responds, adjusting the energy flow to the front of the ship, redirecting every last ounce of power into their cannons and shields. The ship's engines roar with a renewed intensity as it lurches forward, heading straight for the heart of the Federation fleet. The flagship's guns open fire, massive energy blasts lighting up the space between the ships, but the human ship moves with a swift precision, dodging the first few blasts with ease. As they close in on the flagship, the ship's cannons hum, ready to unleash another devastating volley. Firing in 5, 4. Dre counts down, her fingers steady on the controls. "Now." Soren commands. The ship's weapons roar to life again, a beam of pure destructive energy cutting through the void and slamming into the Federation flagship's weakened shields. The first hit causes the shields to flare and crackle, but the second hit is even more devastating. The energy beam cuts through the shield and pierces the flagship's hull, tearing through the ship's armor with terrifying force. The flagship trembles violently, and massive explosions erupt along its side, sending debris scattering into the void. Soren watches as the Federation flagship begins to break apart. "We did it," he breathes, but the victory is short-lived. The remaining Federation ships, now leaderless, fall into disarray, but they are still deadly. "We're not done yet," Clark says, his voice tight with anticipation. "They've got reinforcements coming. We need to get out of here before they can regroup." Dre nods, her fingers already working to adjust their course. "I'm rerouting power to the engines. We'll be able to make a quick jump." The ship shifts, moving away from the wreckage of the flagship, its engines glowing bright as they begin their evasive maneuvers. The Federation ships, though shaken, are not out of the fight, but they are no longer the unified force they once were. As the human ship pushes forward into the darkness, with the shattered remnants of the Federation fleet behind them, Soren feels a deep sense of triumph. They've done what no one thought possible. They've shattered the universe's biggest empire, and in doing so, they've made humanity's place in the stars undeniable. "We're not just survivors anymore," Soren says, looking around at his crew. "We're the ones who decide the future." And with that, the humans, once seen as weak, now hold the power to reshape the galaxy in their hands. The universe will never be the same again.